Hello students, today we will learn cesarean section in detail. In the previous videos, I shared the live surgical video of cesarean section, and in another lecture, I have shown you all the instruments in detail which are used for C-section. In this, we will learn about what are all the different uterine incisions given for cesarean section, what are the indications of cesarean section, what is the pre-op preparation, what is the post-op care given to the patient, and what are all the complications. So let us learn C-section today. So what are the objectives of the session today? We are going to define what is C-section, what are the different types of cesarean section, what are the different types of C-section according to the timing it is done, that is elective or emergency C-section, what are the indications of cesarean section, what is the pre-op preparation, procedure, post-op care, and the complications. So what is cesarean section? It's an operative procedure wherein the fetus is delivered through the abdominal route after 28 weeks of gestation. Hysterectomy is similar procedure but done before 28 weeks of gestation. Commonly we do lower segment cesarean section. And you know who introduced it? It was Kerr who introduced the lower segment cesarean section. Yes. So according to the timing when the C-section is done, either it could be elective C-section or emergency C-section. Now what is elective C-section? It belongs to category 4 type of C-section according to the urgency of the requirement of cesarean. What is elective C-section? It is surgery done at pre-selected time before the onset of labor pains. It ensures best quality obstetrics, anesthesia, neonatal resuscitation, and nursing facilities. It is done for absolute indications where vaginal delivery is hazardous either for the mother, fetus, or both. And what is emergency C-section? It belongs to category 1, 2, and 3 and surgery done due to an acute obstetric emergency. Acute emergency is decision delivery interval is within 30 minutes, that is category 1. Then generally it is done for either non-recurrent or relative indications. So according to the urgency of LSCS, what are the different categories of cesarean sections? We have type 1, that is emergency C-section, which causes an immediate threat to the life of the woman or the fetus, and the decision decision delivery interval has to be within 30 minutes. And category 2 is urgent, that is maternal or fetal compromise, which is not immediately life threatening but should be performed within 75 minutes. And category 3 is the scheduled cesarean section, wherein needing early delivery but no maternal or fetal compromise. And category 4 is elective C-section, which is done at a time to suit the woman and the maternity team. So what is the classification of C-section according to the number it is done? Either it could be primary cesarean section or it is a repeat cesarean section. So generally tubectomy is done after third cesarean section. So what is the classification of C-section according to the approach to the lower segment of the uterus? Either it could be a transperitoneal approach, which we commonly do, or it could be an extraperitoneal approach, which is done in case of chorioamnionitis. So what are the indications of cesarean section? Either they could be absolute indications or relative indications. Absolute indications is vaginal delivery is just not possible because of increased risk to either the mother or the fetus. And in relative indications, vaginal delivery may be possible, but there is increased risk to the mother and the fetus. What are the absolute indications? In severely contracted pelvis, cervical or broad ligament fibroid because the baby cannot descend down. Again, in the posterior placenta previa, there is difficulty in the descent of the fetus. In grade 3 and grade 4 placenta previa because there will be lot of bleeding if vaginal delivery is allowed. in advanced carcinoma of the cervix and in case of vaginal atresia. The relative indications are divided into the maternal causes, the fetal causes, and the placental causes. Maternal causes are cephalopelvic disproportion in the medical complications in the mother, that is uncontrolled diabetes mellitus or hypertensive disorders of pregnancy or heart disease with coarctation of aorta or Marfan syndrome. In the cases of threatened uterine rupture, previous to LSCS and or previous LSCS with scar dehiscence, bad obstetric history, elderly gravida, failed induction of labor, non-progress of labor, dystorcias because of some problem in the passenger pelvis or the power, that is the uterine contractions, or on maternal request. The fetal indications are the fetal distress, cord prolapse, malpresentation, that is breech, shoulder or brow presentation, malposition, persistent occipito-posterior position, deep transverse arrest, macrosomia. Placental causes are abruptio placenta or major degree of placenta previa. What is the appropriate uh, time or weeks of gestation to perform the cesarean section? Generally, elective cesarean section is done only when the maturity of the fetus is certain, that is 38 completed weeks, to prevent transient tachypnea of the newborn. Generally, when the fetus is under the stress of labor, there is an increase in the intra-abdominal pressure and intrathoracic pressure, which causes the squeezing of the fluid from the lungs, and it opens up the lungs, which does not happen if elective C-section is done. If what is the time to do C-section if there is a previous classical or hysterotomy scar? Basically, you admit the patient at 36 weeks for observation and do elective C-section at 38 weeks of gestation. What are the contraindications to perform C-section? If there is DIC or coagulation disorders, only after the correction of disorders we can take up the patient. If it is a too premature fetus, if it is a dead fetus, but exceptions are there, like in the case of central placenta previa, impacted shoulder or contracted pelvis, or if there is pyogenic infection of the abdominal wall. Before the surgery, we have to make sure that fetus is not premature and fetal heart sounds are always checked on the operation table. What is the pre-operative preparation? In elective cesarean section, the patient is kept fasting for about 6 hours prior to surgery. Cross-matching of the blood is done, consent of the patient and the relative is taken. You shave and prepare the parts, you can clip the hair, then xylocaine sensitivity test is done. Injection Taxim 1 gram IV or any of the cephalosporins can be given at the time of taking the skin incision or half an hour prior to surgery. Then injection Rantac, that is antacid, is given half an hour prior to surgery. Injection ondansetron 2 cc IV is given half an hour prior to surgery. IV cannulation is done and Foley's catheterization for continuous bladder drainage and also for measurement of the urine output is done. What anesthesia is given for C-section? It depends upon the patient's condition, what is the indication and the urgency. Routinely, spinal anesthesia is more safer. It is given in the L3 and L4 space with lignocaine 2% or sensorcaine. General anesthesia or epidural anesthesia can also be used. What are the different skin incisions given for cesarean section? Most commonly, we give fan and steel incision, that is the transverse incision suprapubically 1 inch above the symphysis pubis we give, or, or it could be a Joel Cohen incision, or midline vertical or paramedian incision can also be given. Now, what is fan and steel incision? As I told, it is transverse slightly curved incision 1 inch above the pubic symphysis. The layers of the abdomen are opened with sharp scissors. What are the advantages of fan and steel incision? It is cosmetic, it causes less pain, there is better healing, and less chances of hernia are there, and less chances of wound dehiscence. What is the disadvantage? It might take little bit more time, can cause more blood loss. During repeat surgery may be difficult, or it is unsuitable for classical caesarean section. Midline vertical incision on the skin is given for indications like cord prolapse, transverse slide, and placenta previa. What is the advantage? You get more space to operate and it is more faster. Joel Cohen incision, where it is given. It is a transverse incision given 3 centimeters below the line joining the anterior superior iliac spine. It is more above than the phalansteal incision. The layers of the abdomen are opened bluntly. Now we saw the skin incisions. Let us see what are the different incisions given on the uterus. It could be a lower segment caesarean section. It could be a incision given in the upper segment, that is classical caesarean section. It could be J-shaped, wherein the incision, the transverse incision will be extended on one side, that becomes J-shaped, or it could be a low vertical, also called as chronic incision. It could be an inverted T-shaped incision, or it could be a U-shaped incision. Lower segment caesarean section is most commonly performed as the risk of rupture or scar dehiscence is very less, that is about 0.2 to 1.5%. The classical scar, the risk of rupture is more, that is about 4 to 9%. And low vertical, the risk of rupture is again 1 to 9%, and inverted T-shaped incision has got more incidence of rupture, that is 4 to 9%. This is the slide showing the transverse incision given on the lower segment of the uterus. This is the picture showing J-shaped incision on the uterus. If there is a problem, we might need to extend the incision, so it has gone on one side, that is J-shaped. Here you can see the image showing inverted T-shaped. First we took a transverse incision on the uterus followed by vertical incision. Here you can see the chronic incision, that is low vertical incision taken on the lower segment of the uterus, but there is more chance of extension downwards. So this is not a very safe incision. And this is a U-shaped incision, that is double J-shaped incision. And this is the image showing the classical incision, wherein the vertical incision is given on the upper segment of the uterus. Again, this is the slide showing the same, that is lower segment, low vertical, J-shaped, classical, and inverted T. So this is the slide showing the classical caesarean section, wherein when you oppose them, the thickness of the muscle is more, so there is more chance of gutter formation in them. So the healing may not be very much perfect because the blood will get collected in the gutters. So what are the indications for classical caesarean section? Lower segment, it is done where the lower segment approach is difficult or risky. So what are those conditions? When the lower segment is abnormally vascular, if there is a fibroid in the lower segment of the uterus, if the lower segment is poorly developed, that is in the case of preterm fetuses, or when extrauterine manipulation may be needed. In the case of perimortem caesarean section, in placenta increta or percreta, wherein you have already planned a hysterectomy for that patient, if there are adhesions in the lower segment, the approach through the lower segment incision may be difficult, or in the case of carcinoma cervix, in the case of previous VVF repair. So why do you think lower segment caesarean section is better compared to classical? In the case of lower segment cesarean section, the opposition is very good and there are no blood pockets formed and it is less bloody. The state of uterus while healing, it is inert. The stretching effect is there along the line of the scar, so the strain on the scar is comparatively less when you do the classical cesarean section. Then future placental implantation is not likely on the scar. Post-operatively, the lower segment C-section causes less pain and less adhesions. So net effect is it leads to a sound scar and the chance of rupture is about 0.2 to 1.5% and the mortality following the rupture is also less. Whereas in the case of classical C-section, because the uterine muscle is very thick, the apposition is difficult to do, there is more blood loss and the state of the uterus while healing, it is contracting and retracting. That is, the uterus is continuously active. So naturally the healing process will not be very good. The stretching effect during labor will be at right angles to the scar. Future placental implantation is more likely on the scar. Post-operatively, the classical C-section is more painful and there are chances of more adhesions. The net effect is it leads to a weak scar and the chance of rupture is about 4 to 9%, and if rupture occurs, the mortality following rupture is more and even the perinatal mortality is more. Now let us see what is perimortem caesarean section. A caesarean section performed either during maternal cardiac arrest or during impending maternal cardiac arrest, the primary goal of which is to increase the chance of successfully resuscitating the mother and potentially improving the fetal survival. It is only done if the mother has crossed 24 weeks or more. Infant may survive if delivered within 10 minutes. What is the purpose of doing perimortem caesarean section? The primary goal is improvement of maternal, not fetal resuscitation. It decreases the uterine compression on the inferior vena cava, thus increasing the venous return, resulting in improved maternal cardiac filling pressure. Perimortem C-section also allows for improved respiratory mechanics as the diaphragm is lowered after the procedure. Now, what is postmortem caesarean section? Postmortem caesarean is delivering a child by C-section after the death of the mother. The earlier the fetus is delivered following maternal arrest, better is the fetal survival. Caesarean section should be performed no later than 4 minutes after initial maternal arrest. A fetus delivered within 5 minutes from the initiation of CPR has the best chance of survival. Now, let us see what is the procedure of doing the cesarean section. Here the patient is in dorsal position, 15-degree tilt to the left is given to minimize the venocaval compression. The parts are prepared with Savlon, betadine and spirit. Fan and steel incision is given. We can give either a vertical incision or a paramedian incision also if needed. Abdomen is opened in layers. Peritoneum is opened. Then the Doyens is introduced. The UV fold is incised. UV fold is identified as a loose fold of peritoneum over the lower segment of the uterus. The 1 to 2 centimeter uterine incision is given and it is stretched laterally up to 10 centimeters. Baby is delivered by elevation and flexion using palm, which acts as a fulcrum. Interval of delivery between the uterine incision and the baby delivery should be less than 90 seconds. We wait for spontaneous separation of placenta. Oxytocin 10 units is infused in the IV drip after the baby delivery. Dilatation of the internal os is not necessary for drainage of the fluids. Uterine cavity exploration is preferred to remove the remnant membranes. Uterus for closure can be exteriorized or closure of uterine incision can be done without exteriorizing. If we exteriorize, the chances of adhesions exposure outside becomes more. Here, the uterus is closed in two layers with continuous interlocking sutures with number 1 vicryl or number 1 chromic catgut. The peritoneal toileting is done. Abdomen is closed in layers after checking hemostasis and the mop and the instrument count. Then the vagina is cleansed of the blood clots and sterile vulval pad is placed. So this is again showing the fan and steel incision and then opening of all the layers of the abdomen here, and here you can see the incision being given on the lower segment of the uterus, and the Doyens is introduced here, followed by delivery of the baby after opening the uterus, and then closure of the uterine incision here. What are the complications of cesarean section? Cesarean section complications are divided into anesthetic complications and the complications related to the surgery. So what are the anesthetic complications? Anesthetic complications are infection, that is meningitis, then Mendelssohn syndromes. It happens with general anesthesia. The patient may aspirate on full stomach, leading to pneumonitis, aspiration pneumonitis, or there could be high spinal or anaphylaxis to the drugs. Now, what are the complications of surgery? The complications of surgery are divided into intraoperative complications, immediate post-operative, or late complications. Intraoperative complications are postpartum hemorrhage, difficulty in entering the peritoneal cavity due to adhesions, injury to bladder or bowel, hematoma formation, extension of the uterine incision, or amniotic fluid embolism. Immediate postoperative complications include the secondary postpartum hemorrhage, paralytic ileus, intestinal obstruction, urinary tract infection, wound infection, or deep venous thrombosis. The late complications include adhesions, pain in abdomen due to adhesions. Then in the next pregnancy, she can develop placenta previa, accreta, increta or percreta. Then the risk of scar dehiscence or rupture in the next pregnancy increases. There is chance of scar endometriosis or scar ectopic. What are the indications of cesarean hysterectomy? Sometimes the uterus has to be removed. So it is done only under particular conditions. If there is atonic PPH wherein all the other measures have failed and uterus has to be removed. In the cases of morbidly adherent placenta, rupture uterus with fetus inside the uterus, if there are extensive lacerations due to extension of tears with the broad ligament hematoma, or in the case of grossly infected uterus. How do we take care of the patient post-operatively? Patient is kept nil by mouth for about 6 hours under spinal anesthesia. Monitor vitals, that is temperature, pulse, BP, urine output 1 hourly for the first 6 hours strictly. Oxytocin 10 units is given in the IV fluids post-surgery. Then intravenous antibiotics are given. It will depend from hospital to hospital. It is given at least 2 doses of IV antibiotics are given. Then painkillers, then IV antacids and antiemetics are given for 1 day, and intravenous fluids are infused, that is RL, D5 and DNS, about 2 to 2.5 liters daily. The baby is breastfed after 3 to 4 hours once the patient is stable. After minimum of 6 hours, orals are started with the liquids, that is clear fluids or tea. Then Foley's catheter is removed after 24 hours. On day 2, light, soft diet is given to the patient. Patient is switched to oral tablets of antibiotics, painkillers and antacids, and mobilization of the patient is encouraged. Patient is also encouraged to evacuate the bladder as soon as Foley's is removed and later on also. Then on day 3, dressing is done. On day 5 to day 6, depending upon what sutures we have taken, whether they are vertical mattress, subcuticular, transverse incision or vertical incision, suture removal is done anywhere from day 5 to day 6, day 7. Depending on the, so as I already told, it depends on the skin incision and also the number of previous cesarean sections. Then the patient is discharged anywhere from day 3 to day 7. Thank you all for your patient hearing. Do watch the videos Live Surgery for Steps of C-section and Instruments Used in C-section. I have included everything in this C-section module, everything that will be asked in the exams. Thank you very much.